Okay. What's up, everybody? My name is Tiffany Hillcook, and I run a spiritual practice called the Healing Hill. And goodness, it's been over a year now that I started getting these nudges from Spirit to go live, create a container, hold space for individuals, whether they have a really cool fucking story or are a practitioner within the spiritual realm. And I'm really excited today because we have April Angel with us. And I've known April for, I don't know, I guess going on 3 years, but it seems like more. And she was an instructor of mine at the Ashling School. I took a dream interpretation course and then subsequently a channeling course with this school, and it forever changed my life. Today, I don't use dreams necessarily as much as I did when I was in the school. I primarily use my channeling gift, but I still find dreams absolutely fascinating because, like April will go on to share, she calls it like a psychic reading every night that you go to bed. And yeah, so April, do you mind doing an introduction about yourself and just sharing a little bit about your background?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'm April Angel. I work at the Ashling School. We have a healing program at the school. It's the longest running pillar of the school. And what it does is it allows people to heal the blocks and limitations that their dreams say are the most prevalent in their life at this time. So I do that. I lead that program. I run that program. I interpret dreams. I help people heal themselves is what it is. And then I also teach the dream interpretation course along with Michael and Holly. Michael does the majority of the classes. That's a 10-month long course. My background is that I have 2 kids. I live in Ohio, and I used to, for the longest time, I was a test grader for the educational testing service. So I graded English language tests, and because I have a fascination for language, and dreams are the language of the soul, so it just kind of like trickled into this, and now I'm like, okay, this is what I love the most. Ask me another question.
Yeah,
Oh gosh.
No, you're doing great. So with reference to, I know that you also, just because I know you, had an experience in 2012, an awakening experience that, some individuals have always kept that one foot in the spirit realm. I am not one of them. I still have memories of seeing entities and being able to communicate with individuals that we don't see in the 3D, and being told that it wasn't happening. And then I just shut off that dimension of myself, which I have reopened, and the Ashling School helped with that. And so I'd love to hear about your story and what connected you to being curious about your dreams.
Well, I was miserable. It's like, what authorized me to be a healer at all? I'm like, well, because I had to heal a lot of stuff. I was screwed up. My childhood was full of key players who were contributing to my imbalances and malfunctions in their own way. So I've had a long road of healing, but in 2012, it kind of like hit a peak or a pinnacle when I was like, God, I'm so just depressed and unhappy. Why am I even folding this laundry? That was my thing. I was like, oh God, I'm just going to be bones in the ground someday. Like, why does this even matter? Like, ugh. But my kid was like 4 years old, and she was like, yay, unicorns and Santa Claus. So I was like, okay, the difference between me and her, and I want to be happy. What's making her happy? I was like, okay, she's open-minded. I think that's the critical missing thing. So I'll just open my mind. And I came across near-death experience stories like within that same week. And I was like, okay, maybe this is real. Maybe there is life after death. And then that just like set me down another rabbit hole where a psychic was like, oh yeah, dreams are very valuable. They're sending you messages every night. And I was like, hot damn, I want that. But it took me 3 years to find Michael. Like everything I found before Michael Sheridan was crap. Like I was like, it just didn't tell me anything about myself. And that's what I wanted to know. I'm like, I want to understand me. Like, why am I the way I am? Why
Yeah.
are other people the way they are? Like, what's the difference between all of us? So once I found Michael's website and his book, I just became very passionate about unraveling my dreams and interpreting other people's dreams. And it's just been, and within that same year, I emailed Michael and asked him, I was like, hey, are your courses any good? Because, I mean, I've got your book. I've read it front to cover. I think I'm memorizing most of the symbols here. And I've listened to your radio show all the time. I'm like, I probably have it all. Is there like anything left to learn? He's like, oh, definitely. Yeah, you're not done. I have a course. You can come to Seattle. I'm in Ohio. So I flew with my baby. I had a new baby to Seattle and studied with him within the first year of finding his website, within months of finding his website, actually like 3 months. And within 5 years, he had expanded the school with Holly pressuring him and me too. I was like, what? Tell us more. What more is there? Like, I clearly see that this is a language that I don't even know every word in the English language. Like it's a never ending subjective content and information. So yeah, that's my story. And then through understanding what my dreams were saying, and with Michael's help, I realized that I had a lot to heal, and my dreams are showing me like that I had closed my heart due to the abandonment that I felt during childhood and the abuse I felt during childhood, and the controlling authority figures that were surrounding me in childhood. Like I just had so many coping mechanisms and defense mechanisms, and I'd shut myself so much that I had a lot of years of like unraveling the layers and peeling them off in order to be where I am today.
Yeah. I want to come back to your healing. So I'm just going to ask Spirit to bring me back there. But it's interesting that we share what started with my awakening and knowing that there was more as well was past lives.
Ooh.
So, near-death experiences, past lives. And I can't think of his name right now, but he wrote the book, Many Lives, Many Masters.
Yeah. Brian Weiss.
Brian Weiss, Dr. Brian Weiss. And I remember thinking, like, if here's this Harvard, and I think he was also Yale educated, very logical person that is having this experience. And of course, as he's describing this experience, my whole body DNA is being activated. It's just electric. And it gave me, hope, because I was in a really dark place too. I had a lot of pain in my heart and just riddled with anxiety. And, I have such gratitude today for my upbringing, but at the time I didn't understand my upbringing, and I had a lot of anger and sadness. And so I just have such gratitude for the Ashling School, because you guys have a really cool program that incorporates a cutting of the ties that bind.
Yes.
And if you wouldn't mind sharing about that, I don't want to call it an exercise, but sharing about that program and how that works on a, I guess, fundamental level, and then even the integration of that in conjunction with dreams, because you look at dreams too.
Right. Oh yeah. The dreams are a huge thing, because we can't remember all of the things that happened in our life that had the biggest impact on us. We don't remember birth. We don't remember the first 3 years of our life, most of us. So what the course does is, like, it really has 4 components to it. Like, we offer regressions. So like when you start cutting the ties that bind, you go through your own regression into whatever your higher self and guides think is most important for you to know before you begin the journey of healing. So we do a regression. We look at dreams, and the person does one-on-one meetings every week with a facilitator to look at their dreams. There's weekly classes for 7 weeks. So I run the class. So for 7 weeks, someone would meet with me. And then there's like bonus, I don't want to call them bonus healers, but you've been a bonus person on the course too. Like, someone you can get channeled readings, or if there's someone that's like has a special gift that they can use that will work well with the therapy that you're already doing. Like
Yeah.
you get some of that too. So it's a really beautiful program that's like working at all angles to help you get the healing, because the most important thing about healing is that talk therapy doesn't work. Some healings, the healing only works when it would be applicable to you at the age that the trauma was experienced. So talk therapy isn't going to work for a baby because a baby can't even talk. So you're not going to heal issues from when you were born by going to therapy and talking about it. Like you have to energetically get to that. So like there's a lot of meditation involved in this healing process that puts you into connection with your subconscious brain waves, and so you can get to that conditioning and unravel it from there, and thus like rewriting the energy of the experience that damaged you or wounded you, conditioned you in the first place.
Yeah. What I loved about specifically the cutting of the ties, well, all of it working in tandem with one another, is I had been going to a counselor for years at that point in time. And probably 5 or 6 years at that time. And of course, I was making, certain things were becoming more clear to me, specifically where my anxiety was starting. I started to notice it was my job and my mom. There were these two entities that I would be fine during the day, and I'd have a conversation with my mom and I'd be elevated. But then I didn't know what to do with that. And so what I loved about that 7-week course that you talked about, but I swear it was longer, is that you were able, or I was able to see with my dreams how quickly that the meditation work and the therapy, again, I don't want to necessarily call it therapy, but that exercise of cutting the ties that bind, how quickly it can start to transmute energy within your body. Not only transmuting the energy, but it is reframing the perspective in which we observe our reality.
Right.
Because, you might on a subconscious level hate men and not even realize that it's connected to the fact that your father physically abused you when you were a child and then he left. So no men are to be trusted, and you don't even understand why or where that came from. This program and working with April at the Ashling School will show you all of that. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. And you said, I feel like it was longer than 7 weeks. The classes are 7 weeks, but you meet with your facilitator as long as it takes for you to clear those blocks.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's just beautiful. And what came out of that for me in particular was not only a better relationship with myself, but just with my reality. It's like, and one thing that I do remember while I was going through that course is, specifically I worked on my mother. And I also worked on my father as well, but you don't do them both at the same time. You pick one or the other, or it could be, whoever influenced you the most when you were younger. It doesn't need to be necessarily your mother or father. But part of it too was as I was healing, finding more agitation with women during that healing process. These things were coming up, and it wasn't uncommon for me to be at the grocery store and have 3 really shitty interactions with women as I was working on this, energetic rewiring of and healing of my mother. It's just interesting how it will work.
Yeah, it is beautiful that way. Yeah, it does bring up all the things that you would have been unable to process at such a young age, or the parent wasn't available to help you process it. So all of that stuff that just got stuffed down because don't know what to do with this, throw it away, except it doesn't go away. It gets just locked up somewhere else where you don't have to pay attention to it. That comes up during the therapy because so much of our power gets not the word I'm looking for, but we use so much of we're so powerful. Like so much of your power gets assigned to keeping this thing down that once you let it out away, and you feel it, once you feel it and you release the energy that you're taking to suppress a thing, you have so much more access to your own energy and power, and your gifts come through even more powerfully, just like they're doing for you. Holy cow. I wish I love how great of a channel that you are. I love it so much because I'm I have to keep interpreting the dreams because my guides won't tell me what they want me to keep improving my ability. I wish I didn't have to work that hard. That's beautiful for you.
Well, what's so interesting, I just had a dream the other day though that, a blind man was in the dream, it's with sunglasses. And so I'm like, and again, Michael just created or updated his dream dictionary, which by the way, if you're watching this now or watching this later, I will put a link to the Ashling Schools dictionary, which is just amazing. You can start to, go through and pick out specific symbols that have been in your dreams, and it will, and this is a free tool and resource for you. But and so at any rate, so I think my gifts, my guides keep telling me, are altering. But what I know to be true, and this is what's really beautiful about the way that my gifts work as well, is I can meet anyone and I can tell you what gifts you came here with and how they work just innately. And it's not just like you're psychic. It's like I get specific information about how that connection with your higher self works. And so comparison, like I said, is the thief of joy. We all have these just really yummy ways that our creator made us that allow us to navigate life. And we don't even realize that we have these things, because it's like, how do you describe how you tick? It's quite difficult to do. But I am very thankful for my channeling ability in this lifetime, because it just feels good when I'm doing it too. When you follow your life's purpose, I mean, like Dolores Cannon says, you stop aging, you start looking more youthful, because you're in alignment with this greater, a greater entity than yourself, and it's just fun to do.
I love that.
So,
I love that what you do, that you're able to tell people what their gifts are and like how it uniquely shows up for them, because it just means that you're like putting them in touch with their own light, which is beautiful. And then sometimes people are like, okay, I can do that. How do I do it? Like and then your dream's like, yes, you can. But maybe this is kind of in the way of that right now. So once you knock that out of the way through healing,
yeah.
you'll be aware that it's coming through for you like that. But I think that you're such a good channel. You'd be able to tell them anything that they need to do to assist themselves in their healing.
It is amazing. Like even accessing Akashic records, it's just like all of a sudden comes up and I'm like, this is your third lifetime that you have been practicing this. It's just like, and I don't know, it's just this stuff that just comes through. But what I will say, and then I do want to go back to, I want to get into healing and specifically what will show up in dreams that will, that may be in the way of us actualizing and fully stepping into our light. But oh shoot, I just lost that train of thought. Can I have it back? Well, if it's important, we'll get back to it. For what you had shared earlier or just now was that maybe something might be in the way of, or like that our dreams might show us, something that, oh, I remember, and I apologize for those watching. A lot of times what I experience is the integration of the gift, like you had shared. They're aware of that they have it. They're just not quite sure of how to even use it on a day-to-day basis. And for that, what I share with folks is part of it is trusting what's coming through. Because too often I meet with individuals that are phenomenal channels. And mind you, their channel works slightly different because their life's purpose is slightly different. And the information they get is spot on. The next thought, though, is doubt or uncertainty around what they're sharing. Because when I'm channeling, it doesn't make any sense to me because the message is not for me. It is for someone else. Mm-hmm. And so I just know that every single person is a channel. That's what I know to be true. It's just trying to attempting to understand how your channel works, because it is so unique as your DNA. And then trusting yourself to actually, partner with it. So I want to talk about what your dreams will show you. And in particular, you talked about that your dreams will show you, your life's purpose, even what your gifts are, but you may not have access to them, or that it may show that there's something, a slight obstacle that you may need to overcome. And so I'm curious, can you share about that?
Sure. Yeah. So dreams are always are always commenting on the balance of masculine and feminine energy within each individual. And our masculine and feminine energy gets um, developed in childhood, and it is impacted by our parents. So, for example, if dad fainted in the delivery room, well, that's going to impact your masculine energy, because like, who's this wimp that is supposed to be protecting me and making me feel safe and secure in the world? Like, that will damage your masculine energy. Or if mom didn't if mom got let's if mom didn't want you when you were born, or you felt like she didn't, and we can interpret things differently than the reality that was actually present. So mom could have like started hemorrhaging and was bleeding out, and you get whisked away. But because mom isn't there, because her life is on the line at the beginning moments of life for you, you're like, oh, I guess mom doesn't want me since she's not here right now. So like we get damaged in so many different ways. So our masculine and feminine energy balance is impacted by how how our parents react to us, receive us, etc. So knowing that, if you have gifts, which are the most precious part of you, and your dreams are saying like, you have this gift and you need to express it, we're going to look at the energy that is behind the any complications that are showing up, and your dreams will show it. Be like, oh yeah, you're a channel, but your feminine energy is imbalanced because you were, I'm just going to use a generic example, like no one listened to you when you were little, and so now you feel like expressing yourself is going to get you rejected, or maybe you did feel rejected, so like, I fear rejection, so I'm not going to express myself, and that impacts my channeling gift because I don't feel like I can say what it is that I'm thinking. And a lot of times the gifts are coming through in such subtle ways that we're not even fully aware when it's activated. Like, it's such a natural part of you. And a lot of the beauty of learning to channel isn't really learning to do something you're not already doing. It's learning how to identify when you're doing it. I think that was your story too, wasn't it?
Yes, it, like, quite literally the first channeling session I had, I was like, I've been doing this my whole life. I just didn't know I just didn't know necessarily that I was. And I look back at these different, and that's something else that is a huge part of my purpose, is helping people to discover their life's purpose. And, if you can think back in your life of a time where you felt, for me, when I am channeling, it's almost like I'm floating. It just feels so good. And I know that every single one of us has some sort of beacon, because there's some sort of purpose that exists in all of us, that when you're doing it, it's almost like time stops. And the warmth that is coming through you, or even just the peace that you're at, it's unrepeatable doing any other task, because it's part of your purpose. And the other thing is, sometimes I feel a scarcity with people, that if like I share with people that I have this thing, that somebody's going to copy me, or somebody's going to, that they can take it away. And you are so unique. Nobody can take anything away from you. And by you not sharing, the only person you're hurting is yourself, and potentially some contracts that you made before you entered. But the beautiful thing is, though, you can learn. So, for example, I knew I was channeling, but then you can start to say, like, I want to channel a specific entity. Like, I want to channel Yeshua. And so for me, I would just practice and call in different individuals. And what's unique, at least in my body, the energies feel different associated to that. So even if you know that you have a current gift, you can always be playing with it, and, seeing if there's other ways in which it aligns for you to work with it at that time. With reference to the masculine and the feminine energy, do you mind sharing, how would masculine and feminine energy just show up in somebody's life? Whether it was maybe an imbalance, how would an imbalance of masculine and feminine energy show up? You gave
Oh,
me an amazing example last time we chatted, like a year ago, and it changed my life. Do you
oh,
want me to share with you what it
yes,
was?
please.
So how you described the masculine and feminine energy, and it was just like, You talked about the feminine energy working through the heart and the feminine energy receiving the ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and that it works in tandem with the masculine energy, which allows you then to go execute the ideas. And so if you're finding you're having a lot of ideas, but not necessarily, but your wheels are spinning and you're not necessarily going out and, manipulating energy in the form of creating something, there's an imbalance there. Or on the other hand, you could be just going and making things and making things and making things, but it's not really getting you anywhere because you're not necessarily getting guidance from your heart that is sharing with you what it wants to do. And that just like changed my entire perspective. I'd never heard it described that way. And maybe I had, but I heard it for the first time that day when you shared it. It was life-changing for me.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Mhm.
That's a perfect example of how they work together. Like the feminine energy is like, okay, here's another example. It's like compassion and caring is feminine energy. I know my internet is acting funny. So so if I see something happening
Yes.
in the planet and it stokes my compassion, that's me being in my feminine energy.
Mm.
Let's say I see let's
Say
see I
it.
see
You can say whatever the fuck you want. This is what.
I'm like, here's the thing, like, this is the reason I would do this is because of a wound that I have personally,
Okay.
but I'm like, let's say that I have compassion. I see someone like getting abused in public. Like let's say parents screaming at their kid, abusing their kid in some way, mistreating their kid in some way. I might have compassion in that moment for the child. This is not a great example, but then my masculine energy would be required for me to step in to do anything or to
Yeah.
say anything.
Yeah.
Is it appropriate for me to step in and do something? I don't even know. I think that's me trying to save another person from my own wound now that I've done more growing. But like, that's an example. Like some people, when their masculine energy is wounded, they're the ones on the plane that are going to stay in the seat where other people are like, let's rush the cockpit and like, let's take this, like, let's stop the terrorists. Like that's a masculine energy in action. Whereas a masculine energy in balance is going to be too afraid to step in and do the helping
Yeah.
that the heart wants to do.
Mm. That's beautiful. I just experienced something. So, where I live is very close to Interstate 5. And because of that proximity, there's a lot of transient population. And I am just so thankful that I have been planted here because some of my most deep interactions that I have with strangers is with this population. It is just so beautiful. And there is a past life that I remember, and I don't necessarily know the time, but I'm almost wearing like a potato burlap sack when I get to the imagery of this. And I was a woman, and I was very white and had very long black hair. And all I see, and rail thin, like maybe 90 pounds. It was just, I was homeless and a beggar, and and people would just spit on me and, just dismiss me. But there was one man who was very helpful, and it's actually my father in this lifetime, but he was just a shop owner in that lifetime, and he would give me bread sometimes. How that connects out of this lifetime is I just have this deep love and understanding and compassion for homeless people. And it's not that I'm trying to save them by any means, but I just see them. I have no fear. I don't care if they're doing drugs. I'll still go up and say hi. And the other day I was driving, and in the middle of the street was just this man who was clearly high, but he was just slumped over in the middle of the street. And I thought, you know, God, he's going to get hit. And I was just like, hey. And he woke up, and I was like, you got to get out of the street, man. And he just kept going. But, if you would have asked me a year ago, I probably would have been like, well, I'll just leave him be. He's okay. The universe will take care of him. But in that moment, I just said, hey, and it was enough just to get him to continue to move. So that's really beautiful, that connection between the masculine and the feminine energy. What would be so dreams are going to show the imbalance between masculine and feminine energy. They will show you what you came here to do. And I'm just curious, what would be some common themes of a dream that all of us would be having, albeit a unique experience? But what are some common um, you know uh, dream symbols or dream themes? I can think of birth being one of them, but what would be some other ones, or how would birth show up even?
Oh, birth shows up in lots of ways. Like, and the cool thing about when birth is showing up in your dream is we expect to see gifts showing up in that dream as well, because you were born
Yeah.
to have these gifts, share these gifts a lot of times, or they'll just be like highlighting it. Yeah, this is a part of who you are. You were born this way. So, but the dreams
Mhm.
that show the birth symbols be a hotel, a lobby,
Mhm.
descending down an elevator, because that would
Mhm.
symbolize you're moving from that plane of existence, the spirit plane, down into the earth plane. What
Mhm.
else? Moving through a tight gap is how birth is symbolized. And a plane arrival can be
A
about
plane.
birth. Mhm.
Yeah. A party, right? Is a
Ah,
party
there it is.
part?
Yeah,
Okay.
a
Yeah.
party too. Yeah.
I have party dreams all the time, like all the time. And sometimes it's a very grand, beautiful, massive entrance. And other times it's like a drug party, and it's not it's dark and it's dingy. And again, I don't know in that moment if it's connecting me to a past life or some sort of experience that I had in this life, but um, so birth will show up in dreams. I know, and so your gifts as well. If, for example, let's say, I don't know, like a hands-on healing ability. Yeshua isn't the only one who was able to do hands-on healing or even absent healing. Many people are able to do that. What would be some symbols for that in a dream?
The sun is a symbol for hands-on healing because of how much energy the sun has. It's literally fueling the planet. Like our food grows with the sun, we would not be here. So the sun, the color gold, because of its association with the sun, is a very common symbol for hands-on healing. If you see gold in your dream, you have that gift. You have that gift. You're able to transmit energy through a higher source through your body into the recipient.
Mm,
Um,
mm, mhm.
Ooh, there was another. I was on a sports car is a common symbol for
Okay.
because of how powerful it is. Any source of energy and power is going to, like, that's a symbolic key. Any source of energy or power is going to mean that you have that gift. Being like
Like
cooking
a horse.
food, a
A
horse,
horse.
exactly, a horse, because we still measure cars in terms of horsepower. The more
Yeah.
powerful the horse, the more the horses, the more the power. Yeah,
Yeah.
so sources of energy and power. Cooking food for people and serving food is
Mm,
also about having, because you're giving, literally you're giving energy to other
mm,
people in a dream.
mm.
So that's another symbol. And just seeing hands too. Hands in dreams can mean that you have the gift of hands-on healing. And 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, it's going to represent that gift.
Okay. Yeah, that's beautiful. And by the way, if you're watching and there is a symbol that has been reoccurring or, an experience that you had that you're curious about, please ask now. I mean, this is a really cool opportunity to get some answers there. Um, Another thing for me that would show up in dreams is health related things. And more specifically, for me, was and can be my digestive and elimination system. And a lot of us have dirty insides, and not in a negative necessarily kind of way, but that we might be eating certain foods that aren't in alignment. And it's not that the food is bad, it's just for whatever reason our body, your specific body, it's just not for it. um, can you share like, how would you know that you're not supposed to be eating a certain food? How would that show up in a dream?
Usually the food is, well, sometimes the food can show up in a negative way. So if like the food that you love to eat is like you're dropping it and it's on the floor, that's a pun, like you need to drop that food. If I've seen the toilet being filled with like beef bones, and that's like, okay, your elimination system is being blocked by the amount of meat that you're eating, or a sink being completely full of meat. I've seen that before. It's like, okay,
Mm,
that your digestive system is just being blocked up by all this food. Dairy is like a trickier one to see in dreams because it can show up in such subtle ways. It can show up as just the color white sometimes, but it's also the most common thing I see that people need to eliminate from their diet.
yeah. One for me, and because there's been a couple, eggs for me are difficult. And I've just had dreams where they're littered all over the ground. But specifically, there were hard boiled eggs. And so, again, I could be misinterpreting that as a reproductive symbol. But the other dream that I remember vividly was, and just that day, I got coconut milk ice cream, not doing dairy, treating my body so good. And that evening in the dream, it was like I had a spoon and I just couldn't get the ice cream off into the garbage can. It just,
Oh
I just
my
kept
gosh,
squeezing
yes.
it. And it was like, that was clear as day that I'm just not coconut milk in particular. I love curry. So sometimes I do have coconut milk, but it's just, my body, this isn't able to process it as
Yeah.
like other things. Something else that I just thought of is in dreams, what are you talked about the bathroom. And, I love when I go to the bathroom in a dream. So what would be some positive symbols in a dream that for individuals? Because dreams kind of point out where's the opportunity here?
That's a tricky question because I can only say that I'm going to sound like such a negative Nelly. It's hard to say that dreams are showing a positive thing unless you're working on therapy. So if like someone is doing a therapy and the therapy is working, I'm going to see positive things happening in their dream. If those same things were to show up in a dream where someone isn't doing the therapy or doing something to consciously grow themselves, I'd be like, oh, this dream is saying that you need to do those things. You need to work on that. It's a request for you to open your heart. That's like one of the most common things I see. Like everyone's dreams are saying like, be your authentic self, embody who you are, don't be afraid to be yourself and let people see who you are. And so the rest of the dreams are showing like what's in the way of you feeling safe to do that.
Yeah. Thank you. And concentrated tarot 8. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And we just connected. So thanks for joining. He had a question. Are there any habits or other things that can block your dreams? Not sure if you've already covered this. Thanks.
Ooh, well, not getting enough sleep can block your dreams because your body just needs a certain amount of hours most of the time. That's why people, when they're on vacation, sometimes have an easier time remembering dreams because they're not waking up and rushing off to work right away. So a good amount of sleep will do that. I think smoking weed will
That's for me
inhibit.
too. Cannabis, man, I love it, but I trade off my dreams. When I'm smoking cannabis, I do not recall my dreams. So
Yeah. Certain substances will just prevent you from recalling.
Yeah. Medications, I've noticed too. I have some friends that this is what I know about dreams as well, is if you're getting a dream, and please add to this as well, April, is if you're getting a reoccurring dream in particular, that is let's start here. Where do dreams come from? I think that'd be a
Dreams
good.
come from your higher self. It's your connection to your higher self. Your higher self planned your life. It knows your mission. So it's sending you feedback every evening on how the mission is going. And you're getting that feedback whether you remember the dream or not, honestly.
Yeah, that's the beauty. You dream all night long, whether you're recalling them or not. But I've got one of my dearest friends. He is absolutely a soulmate. He intentionally takes medications to not remember his dreams because they are so dark for him.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so, so something that I know to be true is, history will repeat itself if we don't learn the lesson. Is that, I don't know how else to say it than that. If we're not healing what we came here to heal, the universe will create another either lifetime or another experience in this lifetime in order for us to meet this thing head on for the growth of the soul.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a limitation. Like we come here to Earth because it's a learning planet. It's like a learning school. And we're designed to have, I saw this in a meditation that our energy just has limitations designed. It's part of the design of the limitation. So it's like an acorn, like breaking through the shell. Like they're just, in order to expand, we just have to break through layers, like a tree growing the rings. Even like every year you're expanding more. You don't have to break through as hard as you do when you're on a shell. But anyway, it's like we're always expanding. And so coming to Earth is a great experience because there's so many. It allows us to focus on the specific limitation that we're trying to bust free from. So we can plan a whole life that will just put us in experiences where we have to shift our energy. I will share myself as a personal example. Like I know that my soul wants to learn how to believe that help is available. I think that I'm at a level, on a soul level, where I'm just like, you know what, I've got it from here. Like it couldn't possibly be better. And I've figured out this much. But like in order to get to the next level or the next place, like I need help. And so
Yeah.
not believing that help is available or that I really need it is my limitation. So it's a weird thing to say. But
It's vulnerable.
I planned a lifetime that I would just get the shit beat out of me by experiences to force me to need help and to want help. And because I was doing, sorry, I know my computer freezes a little bit or my internet.
Yeah, you're fine.
I was doing such a bad job because every time like the shit hits the fan or there's limitations presented, I'm like, well, I'm a single mom. I'll just figure this out on. I don't, instead of asking for help, I just got stronger and stronger and stronger. And then I got multiple sclerosis. And then I learned through the diagnosis of multiple sclerosis, like my subconscious and my higher self was like, we'll do anything to force you to just accept help and ask for help. If it's disabling you, it's not a bad thing that you're disabled, because now your soul, the whole mission, and I'm sure there's a lot more to the mission than just this, but like the whole point of you being on earth was so that you would learn to ask for help. We planned this whole miserable life so that you would ask for help, and you're freaking not getting it. But I did get it because my dreams helped me figure out. I was like, oh, I can just ask for help and I won't be disabled. All right, I'll just be smart about this. Actually,
I am getting so much better about asking for help, but being in my masculine energy was way more comfortable. I will give, I will do for you. What do you need? But the moment they wanted to give it back, it was like, whoa, this is uncomfortable. Or I would keep this like list of, I did this for you, so if you do something for me, it's okay, because now we're even. Like we don't need to keep lists of anything ever. I would like to talk about the gift of spiritual leadership because if Concentrated Tarot is still here, I know that he has a channel and on YouTube. And so if you are having a YouTube channel and sharing your light daily, you are absolutely you have the gift of spiritual leadership, whether you realize it or not. How would that show up in a dream?
ooh, good question. Okay, so the symbolic key for this is any source, something that shows a common purpose or the ability to instill purpose. So like obvious things like the president, a teacher, a leader, any typical leader would mean that you have that gift too, because you're everything in your dream. So if the president's in the dream, you have the gift of leadership. The color purple can symbolize that, and just a group itself can symbolize that, or oh, there was one more little thing. It'll come back to me.
I know for myself, I have dreamt of lions. That's
good one. Yep.
that we've had before, which, and more specifically, they were female lions. Would you mind sharing a little bit about, seeing a female leader versus a male leader?
Yeah, the gift of leadership works through feminine energy because it requires having an open, compassionate, non-judgmental heart that you can use it to meet a person where they are and then just inspire them and empower them to overcome their own challenges. So it's different from a counselor because you're not being like, this is why you got where you are. And the way to get through, and like, here, let me just hold your hand and walk you to the next phase of your life. A leader is going to inspire and empower people to face those challenges, go and do it themselves. And so it's a feminine energy gift for that reason, because you have to have an open heart and not be judging the people that like genuinely wanting to help them. Like judging them is not, you can't really lead someone. You're just trying to control them or fix them or make them be different. It's different.
Yeah, it's like, because God doesn't judge, and you could make as many mistakes as you want to. You just will have to probably come back, or these lessons will continue to be given to you. I always like to ask guests before they come on what their favorite book is, because I love resources. And April's favorite book is this one here, and this is written by Michael Sheridan, who we've talked about here, who founded the Ashling School, which is more than just a dream school. They do healing. They connected me with my channeling gift. And what I love about this, it's got a complete dictionary in the back. And we were talking about a spiritual teaching and leading. They have chapters of hands-on healing. I mean, anything that you could want about your life's purpose is in here. So some other things. So dreaming of groups of people will also be for spiritual leadership. Puns on the word mass, as in influencing the masses. So those are some other symbols for spiritual leadership. I would like to jump topics just a little bit. You just got done with a 3-day summit, a dream summit. Can you share a little bit about that for folks that are listening now or want to or will be tuning in later?
Yeah, we just finished a summit. We started off doing these annually once a year, and it's 3 days where we teach you so much information about interpreting dreams. So if you're an enthusiast, you've been listening to the radio show, or you've taken other courses, it doesn't matter how much you know about dreams. You always walk away knowing so much more and being inspired at these summits, because we go deep and we're always changing the subject. Some of the material is repetitive every year. Like I talk about masculine and feminine energy every year, because no matter how many times you hear it, it could go a little bit deeper. But this year we did a really great showcase of the students just like you that have been through the school and that were able to connect with their own, I'm sorry if that broke up, able to connect with their own gifts and express those. So it's like a lot of people that have these, just like you were saying, like everyone's gifts are unique. Like it was putting people on the stage, and someone in the comments was like, oh, this is like the X-Men school, because it's like showing people like what their unique quality is that they're bringing out to the world. And so it was beautiful for that reason. And even Holly, like she was able to share a really beautiful segment about a new direction that she's taking the school in, where she's going to be facilitating like meditative journeys at the beginning of next year. She's working towards that because her dreams told her, no, actually she had a medicine journey, and the medicine journey told her that she has the ability to guide people on these same journeys, but without the medicine. So anyone that's like squeamish, and also it's illegal to do anything with medicine. So it's like she's going to be able to guide these things. So it's like the whole summit was just like mind blowing. It always is, even though I'm part of the summit and I help teach it. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting and great. And all these students that, oh my gosh, I want to visit this teacher that I actually knew when they were still healing the things that were blocking these gifts. Holy cow, they're amazing. So it really is. The summit itself was beautiful. So much was shared about how to channel, how to connect, how to safely channel. Michael always covers that. But if this sounds interesting to anyone at all, like we're offering all the recordings from that summit at a link that anyone can click on. And so if anyone is curious and interested, like you can totally go and watch the recordings for free. All the recordings for free. It's at dream-analysis.com/replay. Let me just check, because Michael was
here. I'll put it in the www.dream-analysis.com/replay.
Yes. I'll just I'll forward this to you, because I'm not sure if that is going to show up exactly like it needs to. But yeah, it was a really great summit, and we were doing it once a year, but now we're doing it twice a year. So we have a summit every October, and last year we did it in April. It was the first time we did a spring summit. So if you missed this one and this is exciting and you want to attend a live one, because we do interpret dreams live for the participants during breaks. The graduates from the school that learn dream interpretation are in the Q&A interpreting dreams live. It's a really beautiful event. You get so much out of it.
Yeah. Your dreams, I'm telling you, the way in which, so I want to share April. If you want to meet with April, she can absolutely interpret your dreams. Her link to connect with her should be in the description box below. If it isn't, I will absolutely add it afterwards, because it is like, I've had tarot card readings and I've gotten readings from other people, even, energetic healings, but man, to have your dreams interpreted, it is like a whole different level of excitement, because then you have like a little bit of new knowledge about yourself that on a soul level. And for me, then it's a whole nother rabbit's hole that it would take me down. So I think that's really beautiful. Do you want to share anything else about the summit before we move on?
Oh, No, I just suggest I highly recommend people to watch those videos. I sent you the link. I just texted you the link, and
Oh,
the link that I shared, it might not be. Ooh, actually, it might be active. I just can't access it yet because I, in the beginning, was typing it in so many times. Michael's like, the link's not going to work for you right away. But
I'll
I
add
will.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
put it in the
I absolutely will.
yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Um, again, if there's anybody listening that has a dream symbol that they would want like interpreted, I actually have a question about a dream symbol, and you may or may not know what it is or
Okay.
know exactly what it means. And because this is the other thing that's really beautiful is sometimes April or her team may not know what the dream symbol is, but they're able to channel and connect with my higher self or their guides to get the answer. And the other night, so it's definitely influences of my past life. I'm working at a coffee shop that I worked at when I was younger. I've got these lines of individuals, and it's a drive-through coffee shop, and they just keep coming. And I'm serving them coffee. And for the first time that I ever remember having this dream, because I have this dream often, I'm not stressed out about it. I'm like, you know what? As they come and as I'm able to make these coffees, I'm going to give them to them. And then a gentleman walks up to the window, and he wants to buy bags of popcorn from me, and I end up selling. And so popcorn in particular is the symbol that I'm curious on. And he ends up buying, fuck, how many bags does he buy? I don't, is that important? Let's see, 7 bags of popcorn and some candy. And it was $25 a bag. That's what I remember, which is wildly expensive. Other things that happen to the dream: a man comes in the back door with a walking stick and a large Newfoundland dog on a leash, which Newfoundland broken down is Newfoundland. It's his service dog. He's blind. He's wearing a baseball cap and sunglasses. He's taller and slender. We have some exchanges. I say hi to the puppy. And there's this feeling that I think I'm going to kick him out because of the dog, or that we would have an argument because of the dog, but I'm not like that. And a little patience and understanding goes a long way. The dog didn't bother me one bit. And then it ends with I get warm and a little sweaty while working, and I realize I'm wearing this bright orange backpack the whole time, and I take it off and I set it down. So that was kind of the extent of the dream. But the popcorn just seems so significant, and maybe I'm missing something else, but I was like, wow, he wanted 7 bags of popcorn. The total was $182.50. I remember that. So it's just, I was curious if you have any information on that.
Yeah, there's a lot in that dream. I'm like, oh yeah, you're totally a healer. You're definitely meant to be of service to people in such a spiritual way, and exactly what you're doing. But like this is your life purpose, to help people and to be of service, just like that dog is a service dog. That's you. And there's a feeling in the dream. You're like, oh, I might have to kick this dog out. So there's a weird like it's showing a little bit of an issue there with like, why would you, it's a good thing you didn't kick the dog out, but it's like, why was it even a consideration? This is your connection. But like, let's see. Usually when I see blind people in dreams, usually it's because you were like literally blind in another lifetime, and he's coming from the past.
Oh yeah, just the back door, right?
Yeah. So,
and the dog was massive. It was huge. Like it was taller, like its head could have rested easily on the counter.
Wow.
It's really big. And the dog was black as well. So, black can show up as fear in a dream.
Yeah, I think did the guy seem like a beggar?
Yeah, he did a little. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you know if you were, go ahead.
Yeah, he had that that energy 100%.
Have you been like in that lifetime when you remember being the woman and being the beggar? Like, do you remember? I'm like, did you go blind in that one? Have you had more than one lifetime where you were?
Oh, the angels told me I've lived as a human 1,000 times.
Yeah.
So, or I've had 5,000 lifetimes is how the angels have described my soul's existence, but not always as a human. So I am sure that I've had many dreams where I was blind in a dream.
Yeah. So this is like a big deal for you in this lifetime to be of service in the way that you are and to use your gifts. The sunglasses is about your clairvoyance, which you have in AIDS, and you serving drinks and food to people through the drive-through is like you're a healer. That's what I said earlier. It's like, you're a healer if you're serving food to people. So you have the ability to do that. And it's just like you're one stop on their path, right? Like they're just driving through. So it's like, I'm gonna just stop and get something and then head on my way.
I love that, because that's like my favorite kind of interactions. I love meeting people, hearing their story, just giving the gift of presence. Like, I don't want to alter you. There's nothing wrong with you, but I'm here to listen if you want to share a little bit more about yourself. Like, it's just, I live for that shit.
And they get a little bit of healing and then they're on their way.
Yeah.
So it's pretty beautiful. So the price of things you said was $25 for the bag of popcorn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which, I want to spin this back. I wasn't ready to move on to the food yet. The guy and the dog and the feeling and the color of the dog is like, okay, I have a little bit of fears of this actually. Like, and it's like, you love doing this work. So it's like, I don't consciously fear any of this. Like, I'm excited to do, but your subconscious is like, no, because of these other lifetimes, I'm carrying a little bit of fear of I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy, or like, who am I? I was so undervalued in all those lifetimes. I'm carrying that fear of not being valued for my gifts into this lifetime. So that's just something showing up to get healed in you. But the popcorn itself, like, oof, let me see if I can go anywhere with that. Why did he want freaking popcorn?
And they were big bags too. And he wanted 7, which isn't 7. Because also in this book of April's, it breaks down numbers, because numbers show up all the time in our dreams. And 7 is the gift. It deals with spirituality, right?
It's spiritual enlightenment. Yeah. So it's like you help people with their spiritual enlightenment.
I wonder, like, think about what popcorn does.
It pops.
Like it expands. It expands, and it turns into something different, right? It's like this kernel, and then it's something different. I wonder if that resonates for me.
That's where my mind went immediately. I'm like, oh, that's like the expansion, transformation.
Yes. Yeah. Beautiful. I love that. And here's the thing too, you get to decide what it means. Yeah.
Right. It's going to be whatever the other person is doing to transform themselves will be unique to them. But the 182 or whatever that price, the final was
182.50.
182. 182.50. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like, it's definitely your karma to do this. You're going to expand through using your gift of channeling and healing, like the healing too. It's a good thing that you have that office. Like you're definitely a healer.
Yeah. I feel that. We have a viewer that has a question, simple question. I'm in a stadium, but I don't know the sport, and it's empty, but the crowd noise is present. I see 17 blink on the scoreboard, and I wake up to find out the 17 is a Powerball number. Question on the clarification. Did you wake up in the dream to know that you were dreaming, or did you like wake up out and back into waking life? Because sports, so stadium, I know that. So how would we go about analyzing that one?
17 blink on the scoreboard. Okay.
Oh, he woke up to it in waking life.
So it's just a coincidence that 17 was the...
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Anytime, if I were to see doesn't see people, doesn't say anything about the game itself, but there's no people in the stadium. That's an odd dream. Okay.
Well, I
so
would
say, go ahead. Where are you going with it? You're a channel. What are you getting?
Yeah. Well, what I'm wondering is, or how I'm connecting with that is that sometimes our spiritual leadership gifts, he said also it's a nighttime dream. So beautiful. Do you want to share, and we're going to be a little bit over on time, but that's okay. Do you mind, are you okay to go over a little bit, April?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you mind sharing the difference between a nighttime dream, a daydream, even like, sunrise, sunset, how that would show up symbolically?
Yeah, the sunrise would be positive because it's like, oh, I'm waking up to something. Sometimes it's about the dharmic path, but like sunrise is always healing in a dream. Yeah. The night timings, usually it's going to mean one of two things. It's like I'm in the dark about something that is important about my life, that my dream wants me to be aware of, my higher self wants me to be aware of. Sometimes nighttime can represent depression if the focus is on like how dark it is. So it's like he's in the stadium. It's nighttime, so it's like I'm in the dark. I'm simply in the dark about something that I need to be doing in regard to how I'm playing the game of life, because that's what's happening in the stadium. It's like the game is meant to be played here, but there's no people, but you can still hear them.
So what I'm wondering, I'm getting two different things, is I wonder if it's connected to the spiritual, your gift of spiritual leadership, and that sometimes we are working with individuals in person, but sometimes we might be working with individuals like energetically and not necessarily like face to face. That could be the connection of that you can hear the noise of the individuals or hear the energy of them, but they're not physically in front of you. Is that it? Not quite, is what my team is saying. Not quite. Let's see here. I'm going to read it one more time. I'm in a stadium, but I don't know the sport. So if I'm in the stadium, I don't know the sport, so I don't quite understand why I'm here. Would that connect? Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay. Don't quite understand why I'm here. And it's empty, but the crowd noise is present. And if I say this and this resonates, concentrated tarot, let me know too, is I wonder if all the other information that comes through is if like gifts are being activated, but the individuals in which you're going to do it with haven't quite connected with you yet. So you're able to hear, no, that's not quite it either.
Well, let's look at the 17. The 17 is like, okay, this is spiritual enlightenment. Like, so you're meant to become enlightened or work towards enlightenment in this lifetime, but there's a 1 there too. So it's like working, sometimes I saw a dream earlier today where the person was like, becoming one with yourself is part of your path to enlightenment. But, the number 1 is a masculine energy number that represents individuality and uniqueness. So it's like, are you not showing up in life fully? Because these people aren't really showing up to the game, but you can hear them. They're in spirit, but it's almost like there's something to that a little bit, but it's like I kind of the energy that I'm reading is like how involved, how much of, if you have a YouTube channel about sharing tarot readings and being an expert with tarot, like how much of that is present in the rest of your life? Is this something that you're just doing online and private, and gaining that audience and then like not really bringing it into the rest of life with you? That's where I'm leaning.
Beautiful. I don't know how that will resonate. We will find, please share with us how that resonates. As always, April, I just love you so very, very much. I feel very fortunate in this lifetime to know you. And you really, time is a finite resource, so you could have been doing anything else. So I just appreciate that you're sharing this energy with me. And I know that individuals are going to be watching this later. Cool. He said, no, all of this is extremely helpful. So right on.
Beautiful. It's always a pleasure, Tiffany. I love meeting with you. I love experiencing your energy and just seeing you in action and supporting you in your journey as well. So
yes.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. I want to share, and this is an unconditional offering for the future, is I would love to help you in any way that you ever think of for me with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
You're very welcome.
Beautiful.
All right. Thanks, folks. Love you very much. If you gained anything from this, I always just ask with the exchange of energy, give me a thumbs up. That is literally how the balance of energy works. Again, love y'all. We'll see you next time.